I'm Jessica. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri, but I live in New York City. I say my overall anxiety started around about in middle school and high school, but didn't fully really notice that I had anxiety until my early 20s. I would say my first panic attack was like 18 years old. I was I was at a party and that's the worst time to have a panic attack, and I had a lot of social anxiety after that. But mainly I've been just dealing with panic attacks and sporadically. They're not really they haven't been frequently. I have a phobia of spiders and a phobia of the dark. I feel like the phobia of my spider phobia is confusing to me because I was during middle school and elementary school, I would be the kid playing in the grass, playing in the dirt and picking up worms and chasing people with them. And now all of a sudden I hate any type of bug, especially spiders. And I don't know where that comes from. I just wish I could go back in time and pinpoint what happened in my life to make me have this phobia. So when I see spiders, even in my house or even outside, I literally start shaking and my heart starts pounding, and I feel like there's a heavy weight on my chest. It takes me about an hour or two to calm down. I probably go through 5 cans of bug spray a month, and having these phobias, it's so confusing and it's frustrating because I wish my brain is somehow wired differently, and I hate it. I wish whatever happened to me to cause these phobias, I wish it never happened. I hate having this constant flight or fight mode set in my brain. It's annoying. Even just being at work, the smallest thing, no matter what, could trigger it, and I'm at work feeling this impending doom that I have no idea where it comes from. Even days where I feel absolutely happy and I feel refreshed, or if I got in a good night's sleep and I feel good and I'm at work, and I'll come home and then it'll just hit a ton of bricks, and the room starts spinning and I get nauseous and I don't know what's happening, so I have to sit down, and my breathing starts I start panting. I literally have to call a friend or my mom so they can calm me down, and after that I just sit there because I'm what just happened? And it doesn't happen often, but when panic attacks do come, it's a wave, because if it's the first big wave, and then the next few days after that I just have this nervous feeling that it might happen again, and then once that goes away, it'll just happen all over again, and then it happens randomly too, and I have no idea what triggers it. I'd say my fear of the dark started more, maybe it started more elementary school. I would my family is really big on horror movies, so maybe growing up seeing that type of gory stuff on TV, maybe that has something to do with it. Even now, if the sun is setting and I have to turn on all the lights before the sun sets and close all of my blinds. But it's weird because I can be outside at night, camping. I love camping. It's just mainly when I'm indoors and the lights are all off. And I've heard about something like a sensory deprivation thing, therapy you can do to you are blindfolded in a dark room, and it helps you overcome all of your fears. And I thought about doing that, and you stay in a room for 3 days straight, and it's just you in a dark room. And I'm hoping, and maybe I should try that to help my phobias and my anxiety, because like it's nothing but you and your head. But my parents, I feel like my dad is like textbook definition bipolar, but he will never get diagnosed. And my mom, I have no idea what she has. She has something, and so they're focused on, and they're kind of like in their own world, and especially like being Christian, they don't understand that like mental health is actually a thing. They just tell me to pray about it, and that does not help. So when I tell them stuff like I am afraid of the dark, or I'm afraid of spiders, or I have anxiety disorder, they don't really care. So I don't really speak to them about this. I haven't spoken to my dad about that in years. So I just ignore the subject. And my parents probably contributed to a lot of my anxiety, because my father I grew up in a very chaotic household. So coming home from school was very nerve-wracking. I'm on my way home from school thinking like, oh, what's my dad gonna do now? And my mom just kind of sits there, just lets it happen. And especially growing up with parents that yell at you for doing like the tiniest mistake, definitely probably contributed to my anxiety, because I'm now a perfectionist, and I don't want to do anything unless I do it perfectly, which makes me slack in my everyday life. My anxiety definitely has affected my relationships, because what I look for in a partner is someone that could help me when I do have panic attacks and have just general anxiety, because sometimes when I'm just out and about, I do get nervous. So I need someone to like be comforting, comfort me through that. And that has taken a toll on past boyfriends, because they will tell me like I'm not good at comforting. I'm not good at this. And that's 3 reasons why they don't want to continue a relationship with me. And having anxiety definitely like makes me think, should I pursue new relationships? Because I don't want to put new people, bring other people into this. Because I want to be like good mentally before I pursue a relationship with someone. But in my opinion, like, you're not ever good mentally. It's like healing is a journey and not just a destination that you can never get to, because anything could trigger you at any moment. I've tried talking to a therapist about this, but I don't think she really like specialized in anxiety. So you have to find like the right therapist, which also is hard work. Like, it's a job within itself. So sometimes I slack on that, and getting the right help takes time and money, which a lot of us don't have, especially me. So I've just been kind of coping with my anxiety and my fears by myself, by just telling myself they can't hurt me, the spiders can't hurt me, there's nothing in the dark that will hurt me, and just kind of trying to take my mind off that, kind of like zoning out, especially when I see a spider, just trying to kill it and just move on from that, instead of just pondering and looking at it and thinking about what it could do to me. So I'm just trying to, so my coping mechanism is more like just attack it, like just go through it instead of just pondering with it. I haven't found I found community online to talk about it. So I say, like, even if it's online, find someone who you could talk to about this. talk about your anxiety with. If you can find a therapist that is right for you, then definitely do that. I would hold off on like medications until like the last resort, because those could also have something to do with that. Could also like rework your brain, and like, well, in my opinion, that can affect you, just how your anxiety affects you.